just grab your boots and dance around. A little mud never hurt a soul. It's how we grow, yeah, it's how we roll.
The sun's hiding, but it ain't gone. Keep your heart turned on, turned on.
Keep smiling, keep shining when the storm tries to steal your song. Keep smiling, keep climbing till the dark clouds that don't belong. Oh, misery won't stay where joy is strong. Oh, misery won't stay where joy is strong.
Creeping, saying you can't win.
Just shout louder, drown them out again. Turn the doubts into your fire. Every stumble builds something higher. When shadows linger, light your spark. Don't let them pull you into the dark. Keep smiling, keep shining when the storm tries to steal your song. Keep smiling, keep climbing till the dark clouds that don't belong. Oh, misery won't stay where joy is strong. Oh, misery won't stay where joy is strong.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, folks. Second, welcome back to the program. It's Chris live in central Pennsylvania. Yes, it's an unusual time, and I'm able to get into work earlier, so I'm going in a little bit later. Not late, but later than I usually would, and so the time is available. We have not done the proper news broadcast this week because of my consulting work, which keeps me away, so we're doing off the mobile. I'll still try to go live later on today for some updates on the news, but this is your, sorry, Byron, morning shot. No, this is your early bird, and for those of you here on the East Coast U.S., early bird, and for those in South Africa, good early afternoon. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen, and we do have some news, some shocking news here, including race-based taxation. South Africa's nonsense has made its way to New York City. Race-based bigotry and laws are making their way, apartheid making its way into New York City from South Africa. Apparently, communist, socialist, fascist, Islamist have gotten their ideas from the ANC and now want to tax white people to pay for the city of New York. We'll get to that in just a moment. Shocking news, to say the very least. This country is going down the crapper in places not where the federal government has no authority. Places like New York. New York City, a place where Islamic fanatics knocked down the Twin Towers, killing thousands of people just 2.5 decades ago, now is on the verge of electing an Islamic fascist to be the mayor of the city, a man who despises white people, who grew up in a life of privilege, and blames other people for Lord knows what. We're going to get that in just a moment. Missed me... What's that? Shoo, I missed you today. What's that mean, Rena? Is that a typo? I don't understand that. Trying to figure that one out. Well, first off, we start off with Monday's exciting news. Not so exciting if you were counting on using WhatsApp or going shopping at Temu or Shein or Amazon or just checking your mail. Amazon Web Services caused a major ripple across the world on Monday at about 3:11 in the morning when its services went offline. Amazon Web Services recovering from major outages. Engineers work on the problems. Well, they did work on the problems. They solved it, but the network was down for about 3 hours, and all for a very simple thing. one of the most simple things possible. The first signs of trouble emerged at 3:11 a.m. Eastern Time when Amazon Web Services reported on its health dashboard that it was investigating increased error rates and latencies from multiple Amazon Web Services in the U.S. East 1 region. The significant error rates were resolved around 6 a.m. that morning, but it's not the first time this has happened. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason that the internet went out was one of the most basic functions of the internet. You have computers, servers that specifically exist to translate your plain text into numbers, and then they route yours. So when you type in news24.com, the computer turns that into ones and zeros, and it routes you to the correct location, to an IP address, Internet Protocol address. The domain name server, or DNS, was out. One of the most basic functions of the internet would not function in Amazon. Yes, showing you just how vulnerable we are. No one hacked it, no cyber attacks that we're aware of, no electricity outages, no earthquakes, no tsunamis, nothing. Just simply a computer had a hiccup, and it caused major problems for people around the world. You couldn't even get to Snapchat or Roblox. Now, I'm sure adults don't really care too much about that, but I'm sure some kids were concerned about not being able to get your get your Roblox. Yes, that's correct, Affinity. Your universal resource locator, that's the plain text to your Internet Protocol address, which is a number. Exactly right. But I was putting that in plain English for those unfamiliar with the internet. Cabello Quacha says, so now you support what Rob has been saying. Okay, let's just pause right here. What are you talking about, Cabello? I support what Rob is. What are you talking about? See, what is that? That's a nonsensical thing. What are you talking about? What do I support? I haven't. It's the only thing I've just talked about is Amazon Web Services. What are you talking about? I support reporting Amazon Web Services down and the internet is vulnerable. Absolutely, I support that. Yeah. What are you talking about? Please elaborate, because I have no idea what you're talking about. So, Cabela, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? All right, ladies and gentlemen. So the next thing is now the Washington Compost is also reporting the story that the New York Times reporting, claiming inside sources giving them information that President Trump will completely overhaul the refugee program for the United States, and that basically it's only going to be 7,000 Afrikaners coming to the United States. Now, this is not supported by any facts. This is not support. What is going on over here? For God's sake, excuse me. What the hell? Leave me alone. People want something here. Too many crickets. Oh, jeez. It's a veterans organization. I got 6 emails just came up. My phone just kept lighting up. Sorry about that. Anyway, Cabela, I'm waiting for, what was it I'm supporting? What are you talking about? Anyway, so the Washington Post now reporting 7,000 Afrikaners. Well, that would be a major departure from what we've done before. The New York Times also reported that Trump will be accepting Europeans, white Europeans who've been oppressed by their governments, their free speech being curtailed, people being locked up for speaking their mind. So let's see what the Washington Post article has to say, because it could be major. I was actually contacted by a major news organization in the middle of the night last night, before I went to bed at about 3 a.m., which was last night. That was just 4 hours ago. I was contacted by a major news organization about this, asking me about it. And so let's talk about this article. Administration's rush to process thousands of white South Africans coincides with plans for overall admissions set as low as 7,500. The Trump administration's plans to overhaul the U.S. refugee resettlement process, including a drastic reduction in overall annual admissions, coincides with a concerted effort to prepare thousands of white South Africans to relocate to the United States through the system, according to documents reviewed by the Washington Post and people familiar with the matter. If the administration succeeds, almost all the people admitted to the U.S. as refugees, as many as 7,000 from a maximum pool of 7,500, could be Afrikaners, a group not traditionally eligible for the program, but one that President Trump says has been tyrannized by South Africa's black majority. The remainder may be chosen because the ability to speak English or their views on free speech. Okay. State Department has set a goal of processing 2,000 Afrikaners for resettlement by the end of October. There you go, folks. There you go. There you go. That is, if that's accurate, that's what I said. I said that, well, I said by the end of fiscal year, which would have been the end of September. So that's a little bit later. I said they were trying to at least get 1,000. That was my analysis. At least 1,000 or possibly 2,000 in the country before the end of September. That was my analysis without information, based on what I was seeing and based on the number of people being processed just back in August. That's what I said. I said in July, actually, I predicted it, but in August, I felt more comfortable with it when I was in England, and said we should probably see about 1,000 to 2,000 at least here by the end of the fiscal year before the year ends. Now they're saying by the end of October. By the end of another 4,000 by the end of November. So that's why things are picking up pace in South Africa. The initiative begun in May has experienced a slow start with fewer than 400 Afrikaners arriving as refugees in the U.S. through the end of September. People familiar with the matter said the administration had an early goal of settling 1,000 by the start of this month, according to documents. When it became clear that it was unrealistic, officials set a new target of 1,000 processed for admission. Other officials familiar with the situation said the administration's resettlement efforts have been slowed, at least in part, by Afrikaners themselves, with some changing their minds about relocating to the U.S. after going through security and medical screens or electing to delay their journeys to sell their property and belongings. The State Department rejected any suggestion that it failed to reach its resettlement goals, saying in a statement to the Post that the refugee program was operating at record speed while upholding the highest standards and that 700 Afrikaners were ready to travel to the U.S. when the ongoing government shutdown ends. Well, there you go. There's some very interesting news breaking. That the Washington Post is saying that officials are violating the law and disclosing classified information, once again compromising U.S. national security by telling people that 700 Afrikaners are ready to be processed and come over here. So that number is plausible. That number would be one that I would be willing to say, yes, is probably accurate based on the amount of people who've contacted me and told me their situation. Now, I'm not saying 700 people have contacted me, but the number's not far from that. Number's not far from it. There are thousands of more people in the pipeline, the statement said. Unfortunately, for additional vulnerable individuals seeking to escape persecution, no refugees will be admitted until Democrats decide to reopen the government, said White House spokesperson Anna Kelly. And there you go. So Mariska was on here just a couple days ago, okay? Mariska was on here, and Mariska told me, she was adamant, that the reason why nobody's flying over now is because the declaration, the presidential determination has not been signed. And I said, that's not accurate. I said, the reason it hasn't happened is because there's no money to process people through the U.S. government. That's why. Well, the Washington Post agrees with me, with my analysis. They have inside sources. They're in Washington. They can walk over and get people who betray the U.S. government every day and release information that's not publicly available. So they have the information. I didn't have that information. I told you that was my analysis. So we'll see who's correct here. We'll see who's correct here. What news about Erica? Huh? What news about Erica? What are you guys talking about? Somebody want to share what that is? What news about Erica? What's going on here? What news about Erica? What are you guys talking about? What? Oh, dear God. When did she have a stroke? Where are you guys getting that from? Is Erica here? I don't see Erica. I don't see, you guys are saying that Erica, I don't see Erica here. How do you know that? I have no message. How do you know that Erica had a stroke? Where did you hear that? Okay, Hendo posted it. I don't have anything from Hendo telling me she had a stroke. Hendo writes to me, I have nothing. Okay, I have nothing from Hendo. He didn't send me any message. Anyway, all right, back to the story. Oh, he posted in chat. I didn't see that. I gotta look for Hendo's message. Okay. Hey, there's my sister, my little sis, Jennifer. Hey, Jen, how's it going? How you doing there? Yeah, Marilla Media is reporting what the Washington Post has reported. They're just copying the news from others. They're giving you news. I'm giving analysis of that news. Okay. Oh, my goodness. I see nothing from Hendo in the chat. I didn't even know Hendo was here. Why am I not seeing Hendo? I don't see Hendo in the chat at all. I don't see Hendo. Oh, there's Hendo. She had it yesterday. Do you know what time she had it yesterday, Hendo? I see your chat now. Any idea when it happened? Fox News reported 500,000 be deported. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's about right. That's the correct number. Yeah, thoughts for Erica. Erica sent me a message at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I didn't know that she'd had a stroke. That's okay. But you said she had it yesterday. Okay. Okay, hang on. Let me just check on something real quick. Okay, so all right. Sorry, folks. I'm unaware of that news. That's news to me. I'd received a message from Erica at 3 o'clock in the morning, so that's news to me that happened. All right, so yeah, she was on the last live stream. I know, and I last night she wrote to me. So, all right. So in its final year, the Biden administration set the refugee admissions cap at 125,000, with the Democratic Republic of Congo and Afghanistan among the top countries of origin. The Trump administration has said that approach posed a national security risk. Any refugee admitted to the United States must be in national interest of our country. They're expected to announce soon that it is slashing the number of refugees that will resettle and putting a new focus on people who can speak English, according to the senior State Department. The cap could fall as low as 7,500. See, could fall. The administration has considered other ways that can radically change the refugee process. With the push to resettle off our continent, the U.S. has cut out the international bodies that help coordinate resettlement efforts. The United Nations Refugee Agency said, for instance, it had previously made referrals to the State Department, which in turn screened those candidates. But in South Africa, that step is being conducted in part by Amerikaners, an advocacy group founded by Sam Busa, a South African woman of British descent. Busa declined to comment. You see, notice how they lie. The Washington Post lies. Most of that work is being done by RSC, which is a Kenyan subsidiary of Church World Services. But notice how they lie. And they have to point out that Sam Busa is of British origin. I don't know that she's of British origin. How is that germane to the conversation? Part of the vetting involves the security and biometric screening. No kidding. We've talked about this for years. Okay. The State Department says they're moving through the process quickly, but standards remain high. One significant issue said people from the matter is the reluctance of some Afrikaners to relocate when the opportunity to do so is presented. During the third week of September, for instance, State Department officials booked and paid for 50 seats in commercial flights from South Africa, but only 3 people wound up traveling. What? Well, that's the first time I've heard anything like that. I'm not shocked, but I'm shocked by the number. So 50 people had seats and only 3 left. So those of you who haven't heard from anybody, you can blame your fellow Afrikaners for cocking up the system and wasting our time and resources. And I have warned about that. I have warned if that's true. I said that there will be people who will change their mind. You're not obligated. You're not committed. You don't have to leave. But if that's true, then other people are really screwing up for everyone else. In its statement to the Post, State Department said this is not abnormal. It's often the case that seats on U.S.-bound flights are bought in bulk. Oh, okay. See, that's different. That's different. See, they've just implied that people didn't go. Now they're saying they buy seats in bulk and that they didn't have people prepared to go. So come on. Give me a break. Situation also is unusual, as traditionally most refugees who seek resettlement have already fled their homes. That's true. But this is, once again, they fail to note that this is not the first time this has been done. We've done it in Cuba, we've done it in Bosnia and Herzegovina, a handful of other countries, in-country resettlement where people haven't had to flee their homes yet. So they don't bother to tell that context. Refugees have to make their case, they have to apply, and then their cases are reviewed. Though many of the fewer than 4.5 countries who have been resettled thus far appear comfortable in their new homes, some have offered more cautious views of life in America, often focus on difficulties finding employment or the higher cost of living. Who? I want to know the name of somebody who has had a hard time finding employment. Where I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that at all. Charles Kleinhaus, a South African farmer who arrived in the U.S. in the spring, was resettled in Buffalo, but within days moved for a job he had found in South Dakota. In doing so, Kleinhaus, who is a Serbic social media post to have faced backlash, relinquished his housing assistance and other resources he was eligible to receive through the U.S. government. In an interview shared later on YouTube, Kleinhaus, who did not respond to requests for comment, said the lack of domestic help was the biggest challenge for him. There's no kitchen lady you can call Sweeper House stuff like he said in an interview. Okay, see, that is a complete misrepresentation. This is why refugees don't talk to people. A complete misrepresentation. A complete misrepresentation. Why, what's this? I have an account here. Why? Okay. Daily Maverick. Oh boy, this is complete misrepresentation. Okay. Oh, God bless it. I freaking hate these websites. 95 different ways to get into things. So now I've got to go somewhere else. Give me a second here, folks. This article is really pissing me off, and I'm going to have to print it out so I can talk about it later on. Okay. There it is. There's my pin. Okay, and I have to have a pin to get in here now. Where's it at? Okay, I'm in. Okay, this is an article Rebecca Davis did in August. Okay. Oh, look at that. The New York Slimes. You pieces of shit. You New York Slime pieces of shit. Let me call you that. You are pieces of shit. Yeah. I put you in contact with refugees in New York Slimes. And now they run an article and they say in a YouTube video, which references a Daily Maverick article. They don't tell people that it's the interview with me, my interview. Do you see how they suppress people? Do you see how they suppress free speech? Do you see how they suppress content creators? That's exactly right. Let me show you this. I'm not Washington. I said New York Times. Washington Compost. Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Not New York Times. Okay, I put the New York Times, but the Washington Post hides this stuff. See how they hide things? So here we go. Kleinhaus, who faced a Serbic social media post that faced backlash, okay, when he was shared later on YouTube. Here's an interview. In an interview. They don't bother to mention me. So this is the Daily Maverick. That's where it takes you. Yeah, paywall. Takes you here. Then you come down here, Daily Maverick, and you read the thing about Charles Kleinhaus, and oh, there's my name. Because here is the link, and it takes you to my interview with him. My interview with him. And that is complete misrepresentation of what he said in the interview. He did not complain about not having kitchen help. That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting. The fact that they didn't reference my interview and mention me interviewing him, and the fact that they lied about what he said, it just wipes out the credibility of this article completely. Completely. Wow. Unbelievable. They lied. He didn't say he was complaining about not having kitchen help. That's disgusting. He said you have to work hard. You won't have kitchen help if that's what you're expecting. Good Lord. Good Lord. Unbelievable. Washington Compost. Shame on you. Shame on you. Disgusting. Wow. In an interview shared later on YouTube, it wasn't shared later on YouTube. That was shared live. Disgusting. Unbelievable. Complete misrepresentation of facts. Yeah, well, 2,300 people already responded to this that was posted this morning. The leftist trolls already come out attacking the Trump administration for this program on that video. And the Washington Post is a disgraceful organization. Absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Completely misrepresenting facts. Wow. Unbelievable. Oh, I know they watch my content, Mustard Olive Coaching. I know that. Yeah, no. I know. Because more than once, even the U.S. media has used my interviews, my videos for sources and failed to document it. I mean, there's been more than one occasion where I've analyzed something, I've published it, and then within a few days or a week, major media outlets here in the U.S. have said the same thing, and they don't cite the source they're getting from me. Well, there's nothing I can sue them for, Gold. Their failure to cite something is it's not even plagiarism. They lied. They lied. They distorted the facts. Completely lied. Wow, that's unbelievable. And they're just disgraceful people. Unbelievable. But why do they do that? They don't mention me because they don't want people to find my channel. They don't mention me because they know people read the Washington Compost. They don't want people to discover the truth. So they lie. They say later. It wasn't later. It was in that interview he said that. And that was a live broadcast. And they don't mention me. Yeah, this is pieces of human sewage. So here we go. Tax the whites, ladies and gentlemen. Tax the whites. Tax the whites. Tax the whites. Zoran Mamdani, the Islamist, fanatist, socialist, fascist, wannabe mayor of New York, pitches race-based property taxes for New York City. New York City's likely next mayor would raise property taxes based on skin color. Frontrunner Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani said he would implement the proposal if, as the polls project, he wins. Mr. Mamdani's agenda calls for free daycare, free bus rides, government-run grocery stores, and raising tax on millionaires to pay for it all, said the city's residential property taxes are inequitable. Homeowners living in neighborhoods populated by minorities pay too much in property taxes. Those living in wealthier, whiter neighborhoods don't pay enough. Says who? Says who? Property taxes are based on home values. So you're saying that black people have homes are more valuable than white people? I thought the system was systemically racist and black people were discriminated and they had no money and they couldn't get jobs and life was horrible. So how do they pay higher property taxes? It's based on the value of the property. Mr. Mamdani, a 34-year-old dipshit, said the time has come to shift the burden from the city's outer boroughs to richer and whiter neighborhoods. He aims to end the city's unbalanced property tax, which caps annual increases at 6%. They can actually increase their taxes 6% per year in New York City. No wonder nobody wants to live there. The mayor can fix this by pushing class assessment percentages down for everyone, adjusting rates up, effectively lowering tax payments for homeowners in neighborhoods like Jamaica and Brownsville, while raising the amount paid in the most expensive Brooklyn brownstones. The scheme would result in race-based taxation. In America, we don't tax people for the race, said Curtis Sliwa, his opponent. Jamaican Brownsville are minority communities in Queens and East Brooklyn. Respectively, more than 70% of the residents are black or Hispanic. In Park Slope, Brooklyn, where the historic brownstones Mr. Mamdani would like to target for higher taxes, 60% of the residents are white. His plan has rattled city residents, many of whom have long complained about New York City's high property taxes, but never envisioned imposing a racial bias to change them. We're all for tax equity, but want to raise taxes. But he wants to raise it on one group, said Liam McCabe, chair of the Brooklyn Republican Party. The way property is taxed is really a mess in Brooklyn, but I don't think he's leading with that. He's taking a woke angle, targeting different communities based on race, and I think he's really upset a lot of people. It's divisive language. Yeah, well, he's a racist. He's a racist. Yeah. The median price of a home sold in the mostly white Park Slope neighborhood is $1.7 million, according to data provided by the realtor. The median selling price of a home in the less wealthy, mostly black enclave is $620,000. Let me tell you something, folks. I cannot afford a $620,000 home. It's 70% black and Hispanic. So 70% black and Hispanic people obviously have more money than I do. A retired colonel from military. They have more money than I do. They can afford a $620,000 house. That is way above my threshold, what I can afford to pay for it. So, wow. These poor black and Hispanic people, houses that cost $620,000, and they buy them, and they own them. Wow, apparently things aren't nearly as bad as we've been told. Current property owner tax assessments are artificially capped, so homeowners in expensive neighborhoods pay less than their fair share. In addition to his property tax, Mr. Mamdani pledged to impose an additional 2% income tax on city residents who earn more than $1 million annually and raise the corporate tax rate from 7.25 to 11.5. So when he does that, you will see the financial district in Wall Street no longer be the financial heartbeat and center of the United States. They're already paying 7.5% tax for building nothing, for passing money around. Raising that to 11.5% is not going to be a good idea. The super wealthy have already been leaving New York City for years. They've been relocating to places like Florida. Don't know how they order people screening. I was one of the first to show interest and heard nothing. I don't know either, cycling journeys. Teresa Mostart gave a gift membership. Yappy Brian got it. Okay, congratulations, Yappy. Oh, sorry, my alert box is off. That didn't come up. For someone with integrity and a true sense of journalism, this must have a sour taste in your mouth when you see something like this and they dare call him. It does, Ingrid. It does. It does. David Bossoff gave 14 rand super chat. And Teresa Mostart gave 14. Thank you very much. Down with the fake news. Yeah, they're supposed to be a highly regarded journalists and publications. Crazy how they've lost credibility and just chasing the next headline. David Bossov 14. So here's what I'll say about that article. That article is disingenuous because it does address the fact that the program is already not for Afrikaners. This is intentionally intended to create racial strife. It's a lie. It's full of, the entire angle of this article. It may very well be that going forward that there'll only be 7,500, 7,000 reserved for South Africans, but unless they change the program, it's for racial minorities, which includes Indians and coloreds. That's not mentioned here at all in the article. I don't know the truth because I don't believe this nonsense they're putting out here. So I don't know. But the fact that they reference later mentioned in a YouTube interview, what is that? And it doesn't even link to the video. It doesn't even link to the video. They don't even link to the video. They link to a biased Daily Maverick, factually incorrect article. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, so the New York or the Washington Times article has the email address of the journalist. But not so, is that, let me see. I didn't see it on the Washington Post. Let me see if it's there. Do they have their email address? No, they don't provide their email address. No, they don't want you to write to them. Yeah. All right. Disgraceful. Here's more garbage before we get to more South African news. Look at this garbage from 5 o'clock this morning. Trump is creating two classes of federal workers, paid and unpaid. No, the Senate Democrats are doing that, not Trump. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. It's not Trump. It's the Senate Democrats that are doing that. With the same agency, some employees are drawing their salaries during the shutdown. Others are working without pay. Yeah, because there is only so much money available that's allowed to be paid to certain employees under law. Trump is not creating two classes of employees. This is slimy, smarmy, fake reporting by the Washington Compost. Wow. Those still drawing pay include active duty military, deportation officers, air marshals, as well as 70,000 law enforcement agents across the agency, across the Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security. Yeah. What's the point? What's your point? The Senate Democrats are creating this, not President Trump. President Trump doesn't write bills and present them to himself. Congress writes bills and presents to the president to sign. The president cannot take any action and pay federal employees until a budget is sent to him to sign, until a bill is sent for him to continue paying people. This is just slimy, smarmy garbage. Thank you, David Bosso, for the first super chat, too. I missed that one. Yeah, wow. Unbelievable. Wow. So tax the whites. Well, folks, yesterday I reported on this horrible situation, another mass shooting taking place in South Africa, this one in Joburg and Westbury, where 2 teens were killed and 4 were wounded. An 18-year-old was shot in the leg and ear during a mass shooting that claimed the lives of 2 teenagers in Westbury. He's recounted the terrifying moment he and his friends were ambushed in broad daylight. On Tuesday afternoon, gunmen believed to be teenagers opened fire on a group of 7 teenagers. 2 teenagers were declared deceased on the scene while 5 were taken to hospital. Took place on Croesus Street. I was shot in my ear and twice in my leg. My friend saw I was shot in my ear, so he tried to protect me. He lay on me, so they shot him dead. They continued shooting us until their magazines were finished. The deceased were identified as 18-year-old Tegan Duplessis and 17-year-old Deegan Riders. Wow. He has to go back on Monday to have a bullet taken out of his ear. It's still inside his ear. Why does he have to go back? Why wasn't it treated then? I don't understand that. He said the friends had been sitting on the veranda joking and chatting when the gunman entered the yard and began shooting. We were just sitting and speaking, making jokes. Saw some people come in the yard. They started shooting us. So we lay flat on the floor. This is the second time they came to shoot at this house. Wow. It happened back in July. This is a big guy. He's the boss of the Fast Guns. It's a gang. He sent the younger boys to shoot us because he does not like us. I think maybe he's 38 or 39 years old. Wow. We know all the shooters. The one guy standing over there by the brick house, he said, pointing out a man staying nearby. Asked whether he feared for his life. He said, yes, of course I'm fearing for my life. This place is too dangerous. We don't have mercy here anymore. When asked about the motive, he said it was jealousy. Jealousy, uncle. Jealousy of name brand clothes is because our parents spoil us. I won't lie. All of us were such spoiled brats. We don't disturb anybody. Now they want to come and shoot us. I don't know why. Wow. Insanity. So, shooting people for Nikes? Is that what's going on? Unbelievable. 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 Let me look and see if I got an update here. Oh, okay. Okay, guys, I can report from a reliable source that Erica did not have a stroke. And whoever told you that misstated something. Maybe they read that she had had strokes previously. Did not have a stroke. She's under a lot of stress because of what she's going through right now. But I've just confirmed that Erica did not have another stroke. Okay, so, all right. Okay, all right. Hey, Ronaldo, what's going on? Ronaldo, have you heard the fascist mayoral candidate for New York City, Zohran Mamdani, intends to tax people in the city based on, get this, not income, not on wealth, but on race. He wants to tax the white people to pay for the black people and Hispanics. Race-based taxation coming to America in New York City. That's fantastic, says Ronaldo. Yeah, okay, sure. And the New York Times, white people must pay up. Dirk Coetzee at 20 euros. Thank you. Make a bigger difference than any other podcaster in South, and you're not even South African. Thank you for everything. Dirk Coetzee, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I certainly try. And Ronaldo, you also missed the first story about the Washington Compost writing a story in which they quote Charles Kleinhaus when he came here about, you come over here, you have to work hard. You're not going to have a maid to clean up after you. You're not going to have kitchen help. They wrote that he complained that he didn't have kitchen help. And they also referenced a YouTube interview. But the YouTube interview link didn't take you to the YouTube interview link. It took you to the Daily Mavericks, Rebecca Davies' slimy, smarmy, fake news article from August 6th, in which mentions me. So they intentionally avoided mentioning me because they wanted anybody to find my channel. They're slimy bastards of the Washington Compost. Why is New York City untouchable? Dave Wilson, because the Biden administration and the Obama administration did exactly what they intended to do. They flooded New York City with illegal immigrants, flooded the city. Then they changed the law to let illegals vote. You don't even have to be a citizen. Now that's been struck down. And the character and nature of the city has changed. The ethnic composition of New York City has changed dramatically in the past 30 years as a consequence of mass inflooding. No, they don't credit me. No. The Washington Compost, and I'm gonna let them rip. I'm gonna write. I'm gonna put it, and they'll probably take my comment off. Yeah, the left is losing their mind over the ballroom. So here's the thing: when Nancy Reagan was the first lady in the 1980s, she got brand new china for the White House. And the left, the media lost their mind. Washington Post and all these. Oh, look at this. Nancy Reagan wasting taxpayer money buying new dishes for the White House. The dishes didn't cost taxpayers anything. They were all private donations. And so the people of America profited. All our guests, heads of state, those who come to the White House, who have a meal there, were eating on new china, not old china full of lead from 100 years ago. Nancy Reagan did that. And she was pillared for it. She was attacked for it. And now Donald Trump is adding a ballroom, something long overdue to the White House, so we can host state functions at a cost of $250 million. And the money's coming out of nobody's pocket. All private donations, including Xfinity, my internet provider, whom I pay $300 a month for this internet. They're donating money as well. And the left is losing their minds. They're losing their minds because there's a big gash in the White House. Seriously? Good Lord. Good Lord. Anyway, moving on. Senzo Mkunu has thrown Shadrach Sabia under the bus, according to the Mail and Guardian. Indeed. Okay, Cabela, you finally responded. I've been waiting for a response. Did you leave or something? And I don't understand your response. You're saying, no, it's Chris. It's just I was watching your previous interview with him. Okay, Cabela, what you said it was on. Okay, what do I agree with him on? You got it. I mean, I can't respond when you don't tell me what you're talking about. Why are countries deliberately destroying themselves? Because evil people have been allowed to be elected to government, while good people sat back and worked hard. See, that's the thing. Good, honest people, they don't always necessarily want to go in government because they want to produce. They want to create. They create jobs. They make environments. They raise revenue for people. They build things, philanthropic things. They do all of this. And while they're doing that, the evil left, who have no skills, no intention other than hatred of the system because somehow they were bounced on their head too many times as a child, now they want to destroy everything. They run for government. They go into the schools and educate. They pollute the minds of children, and they create these losers. And that's the problem. Senzom Kuna has thrown Shadrach Sabia under the bus. Denies directive to remove 121 dockets. Suspended police commissioner Senzom Kuna has distanced himself from the controversy to remove 121 case dockets from a task team investigating political killings, telling Parliament's ad hoc committee on police corruption that his directive to disband the unit made no mention of how the dockets should be handled. He told parliamentarians that there was no word at all about dockets in my directive. Well, there you have it. So that whole thing, nothing's going to come of that, folks. Nothing will come of Mkwanazi's allegations. Nobody's going to pay. Nothing's going to happen. Hey, the capitalist in chief, Mr. Big Mac himself, the Hamburglar, that's right, the Hamburglar, Cyril Ramaphosa, is telling retail food outlets to lower their prices. Of course, retail food outlets are among the businesses in society. I can't speak for South Africa because I don't know the margins, but here in America, they have among the lowest margins for going concerns. Typically, a grocery store will have a margin of 1% to 3%. That's typical. That's not the case of all retailers. Some of them overcharge and make a big profit, but generally it's 1% to 3%. And he's telling them, lower your prices. Well, here's a better idea. How about you fix ESCOM, which apparently is on the mend. You fix ESCOM, you quit taxing fuel, and you stop working with terror states, and then maybe investment will come to your country, and then money will pour in, and you won't have to worry about rising prices because things won't be rising because they won't be dear any longer. So Cyril Ramaphosa is telling the South African grocery producers to lower your prices. He tells grocery retailers to do more to bring the price of food down in the country and steer clear of cartel behavior. Well, I have a better idea. How about the Hamburglar? The Hamburglar, Cyril Ramaphosa, lower the price of Big Mac to 20 Rand. How about you do that, buddy? You own Big Macs. Why don't you lower the price of Big Mac to 20 Rand? Come on, little Cyril Sariki. The Hamburglar. How about you lower the price of your Big Macs? Yeah, there's an idea. Why don't you take a loss? See how it feels. Chicken prices are up now, too. Inflation keeps going up in South Africa. As I said, inflation and population growth exceed GDP growth. Not a good recipe. Inflation went higher in September, while the surge for meat prices seems to continue unabated. Stewing beef is now 32% more expensive than it was just a year ago. Other meat prices are starting to accelerate, including chicken. Yep. Average meat inflation reached 11.7%, the highest annual rate since January of 2018, while month-on-month increases for beef products have slowed. The price of eggs has dropped, hot cereal, sweet potatoes, and potatoes, corned meat. But look at that, price of beetroot, stewing beef, beef steak, and beef mince way up. And that inflation is driven by the uncertainty of South Africa's government. Well, the Road Accident Fund apparently owes a lot of money and caused the closure of a hospital by not paying its bills. $300 million owed by the Road Accident Fund shuttered a hospital. Former CEO of Sunshine Hospital, Ken Ford, told Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts that the hospital had to close due to millions of rand in debt owed for its services by the Road Accident Fund. According to Ford, the hospital had been involved in a lengthy litigation with the fund to pay outstanding invoices, with more than 6,000 summons issued to the Road Accident Fund. Committee members questioned how the hospital become reliant on payments from the fund. Because you have no choice but to treat these people. And there's 140 Rand from Gideon. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it. By the way, folks, while we have 290 people here, let me just bring this up again. If you'd like to do this, if you want to help, there's an opportunity. Charles, yeah. That's the French Charles. Charles Van Onslin, the voice of reason on our program, one of our viewers, has got some serious medical issues. And contrary to what the Sunnyside detective tells everybody, South Africa doesn't provide free medical care to people. Maybe she got free medical care, but it doesn't provide free medical care. In fact, he has medical insurance, but it doesn't pay his bill. He has an outstanding portion. In order to get a necessary surgery, he must have another 80 grand to pay for this because South Africa's government doesn't pay for it. And so he's a retired municipal employee who was pushed into retirement because of race-based policies at his employer in the city of Durban, Dirtbed. So Charles is in need of assistance here. If you're able to help, you feel free to do that. We had a big donation last night from Dogzilla Our strange troll from the Seattle area who claims to be South African, he donated $100 US to the effort. Congratulations to that. Let's take a look. Here is the current. When we started talking about this 2 days ago, it was at 200 Rand. Now it's at 7,340 Rand. I've just put the link in if you want to support it. A lot of folks from Wyatt Army have gone on there. Nick is on there, Wyatt Army, Loretta from Wyatt Army, Dogzilla, Bitter Ender on there as well, Amanda Larson, Wyatt Army Anonymous, Chris Baker, Anonymous, and myself, Momo. These are mostly people from Wyatt Army, so very generous of you all. This campaign is not getting much attention from us. Charles did not want to do this. He was reticent to ask for this money. He didn't want to do this, but we've embarrassed him, and because we've told people the problem here is that, see, so when I tell you that people are bum hurt, in Charles' case, he actually is bum hurt. Okay, without he really does need to see a doctor about a bum issue, but it takes money. So if you want to help folks, it's there. I'm not saying anyone has to do it. You don't have to feel obliged to do it. But if you want to help a Back a Buddy program for Charles to do it, Endoscope, please, it's available there. Thank you to all those who donated thus far, and also especially to Dogzilla, who steps up to the plate and gives a massive $100 donation to help with this situation. So, all right, folks, there you go. All that money, by the way, on Back a Buddy supposedly goes to the people who have the campaign. If you want to pay a fee to help Back a Buddy, you can do that. It goes on top of what you pay. Anyway, Supermarkets Yergis found that they could all drop the price by 7%, but as they are all colluding, could not force this. Again, Daniel Whitfield, I don't claim to know the situation in South Africa because that information is not publicly available. I can tell you in America, the prices are, the margins for grocery stores are typically 1% to 3%. Again, I was very clear about that. So I don't know what the Competition Commission has to say about this last year. I don't trust much of anything the South African government tells us. To review on Tucker Carlson's most fortnight statement yet on Israel. Israel is a small country with very limited resources and doing its best to serve its interests. Cabello, okay, but now you're asking me something completely different. You never did answer the question. Let me go back and see about what it is I supposedly agree with Rob on. Left is okay. Again, Cabello, you never went back and said, what is it? Caroline, thank you for 35 Rand. I think I missed that. Apologies. Clouds are gathering. Cabello, what do I think? I don't think anything. I haven't seen Tucker Carlson. I haven't seen that, so I can't comment it. I don't know. You have to give me more information. That's not enough. Okay? Foot and mouth disease outbreak has much bigger impact. Exactly. Thank you, Dirk Garcia. And I covered that story. And I asked for an interview with the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen. And I was promised I would get an interview after his busy Monday was over. That was months ago. So John Steenhuisen several months ago accused me of not reaching out to him for a story that I ran and said I could have had the courtesy to reach out to him. Well, 14 times I've reached out to John Steenhuisen, either as the leader of the Democratic Alliance or as a Minister of Agriculture, and 14 times I was promised an interview, and 14 times I never got an interview. His office, or he, one or both, are full of shit. There you go. Now I see Hendo's name is showing up with special numbers. He's the only one. Anyway, Teresa Mostart just gave 35 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Yep. How come every Israeli prime ministers had to change their Eastern European surnames? I have no idea what you're talking about. Itzhak Rabin, he didn't change his name. Benjamin Netanyahu, that's not a changed name. What are you talking about? Yeah, no. So I asked before most of the public was aware about this foot and mouth disease. I was aware because I'm in contact with a number of farmers in South Africa who were complaining to me about the government's responses, the fact that they didn't have the vaccines, that they had sold the capability to a company in Botswana, that was developed in South Africa specifically for foot and mouth disease. Yeah. How did Benjamin Netanyahu change his name? Where? Netanyahu's not changed. What are you talking about? What was it? Was it Weissman or something like that? His brother's name was Netanyahu. So did they both change their name, or did their parents change their name? Yeah. May says something about Steenhuisen there. Anyway, back to the story here, folks. So the Sunshine Hospital had to shut down because the road accident fund owed him money. According to Ford's testimony, the 200-bed hospital had issued 6,285 summonses against the fund for an outstanding $300 million in debt, with cases dating back to 2020 to recover funds. Of the summonses, he said 647 court judgments had already been obtained in the hospital's favor, worth a total of $180 million. Yeah, the road accident fund, another corrupt practice. Money stolen from people's pockets to supposedly pay people who are victims of accidents. That's bullshit. People need to have insurance. If you don't have insurance, you shouldn't be on the road. You, the operator of the motor vehicle, should be paying for it, not the people buying fuel. It's ridiculous. Milnerton High, apparently a situation of bullying taking place here, folks. Milnerton High, 8 learners suspended after bullying incident goes viral. Anna Kruger, thank you about Erica. Glad she's okay. Yes, Anna, as am I. I as I said, I get that direct from a source. The source is her son, whom I know. Okay. Okay, hang on a second. He's going to go check into. Yeah, he checked into it. Yeah. Anyway. All right, so if I've got it wrong, I will apologize, okay? If I've got it wrong, I'll apologize. She lives with her son. I mean, he should know. It's daytime there. If she had a stroke yesterday, he would know about it, unless she's off visiting someone. That's news to me. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe Hendo's right. For some reason, he said she didn't have a stroke. Now he's saying he's going to go check. So anyway, so I will correct the record if I'm wrong. Okay, but thank you for the 70 Rand, Anna. So in Milnerton, they suspended 8 learners after a bullying incident that was captured on camera, and it's gone viral. I haven't seen it. It shows a grade 10 learner being physically and emotionally abused by a group of boys. Some alleged members of the school's rugby first team sparked public outrage and prompted police investigation. A criminal case has been opened. Upon becoming aware of the incident, the school immediately initiated internal investigation. Learners were identified and interviewed as part of the process. The school's governing body approved a precautionary suspension of 8 learners to ensure a fair and transparent disciplinary process while prioritizing the safety and well-being of all learners. Now, I'm not really sure how that works. I mean, how is that fair if they didn't do anything? Maybe there's enough evidence to pretty much indicate they did something. Benjamin Netanyahu's real name is Benzion Milakowski. He changed his name to Netanyahu after settling Israel. Okay, again, Holden. All right, hang on a second here. He changed his name. I'm finding that one hard to believe. I'll take your... Okay. And why does it matter? Why do you care? He was born in 1949 in Tel Aviv, Israel. How did he settle in Israel and change his name? He was born there in 1949. He said he settled in Israel. He didn't settle in Israel. He was born in Israel. He was born there. His father's name is Benzion Netanyahu. His father was born in Poland in 1910. Netanyahu was born in Israel. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Why would anybody change their name, Cabela? Why do women change their name? There are reasons for it. What does it matter? What is this obsession with Jews? What are you with you people and Jews? What's going on? What's the problem? First off, the facts were incorrect that were just given. He wasn't settled in Israel. He was born in Israel, which I suspected, but before I confirmed that, I went and looked and got the facts. What's the problem? I've had a different surname. What's your issue? What are you getting at? What is your problem? What does it matter? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I mean, honestly, folks. It's just ridiculous. Moving on with real news instead of bullshit going on in the chat. No, they don't, Kawacha. They owe $300 million to that hospital alone. So obviously, after 6,200 summons from a court, they haven't paid the money. They've had 180 million judgments against them. They still haven't paid it. The hospital had to shut down. I didn't say the road accident fund never paid anybody. Never said that. You are saying that there's no problem. Louis Liebenberg's diamond business is being liquidated. Yep. Up for auction. Louis has shaved his head bald. Liquidators of Louis Liebenberg's company, Terramix, are moving to sell off 7 properties now. The 6.3 million rand 3-story building that housed Terramix headquarters will be sold, as will an adjacent office building, 4 houses, and a plot at Bronkhorst Pruitt Dam. Clothes, sound equipment, paintings, and guitars linked to Liebenberg and the company will go on auction at a later date. Just days after millions of rand worth of mining equipment went under the hammer, 7 properties linked to Louis Liebenberg will go on auction as the pieces of his diamond empire continue to be sold off. On Tuesday, the 3-story office building at Kempton Park will be put on the market. Until recently, the building was dominated by massive advertising signs saying "Reichtum in your hand," wealth in your hands, with a link to the Terramix website. Yikes. Better known as Forever Diamonds and Gold. So that's all gone away. Louis Liebenberg's empire is disappearing rapidly. Eskom backtracks on charges on the most expensive step in solar registration process. Eskom has backtracked on the most costly component of solar registration that had been enforcing, the need for the sign-off of a professional engineer. On Tuesday, the utility announced that it had eliminated the requirement for professional registered with the Engineering Council of South Africa to sign off on solar installations when registered them with the utility. So they were trying to drive up your costs by having solar, forcing you to register your solar, even if you're off-grid, and then forcing you to use someone that was approved by the government. Inside the bid to end BE, Vision for Economic Inclusion for All, Fair Procurement. Holden Caulfield, most people don't change their names at all. That's factually incorrect. Virtually every woman in Western society changes her surname to her husband's. In addition to that, many people change their names. Many people change their names when they immigrate to America to change a reflection. So many people have anglicized their names and are not Anglo. We have Arabs who've come here and changed their names. We have Jews who come here and change their names. We have Eastern Europeans come here and anglicize and simplify their name. I had a different surname, a consequence of the horrible childhood that I had. I have 2 high school diplomas, one in each name. One in each name. So I really care that most people don't change names. What the hell does it have to do with the price of coffee? And what's the issue with Benjamin Netanyahu? We're not even talking about Israel. Not yet. That's coming. So why is that coming up in the conversation? I'm going to skip this one here. I'm going to skip the DA story I covered yesterday. Well, let's switch our attention to Zimbabwe. Former Zimbabwe Minister Kazu Kukwere on President Mnangagwa's 2030 bid. He's dreaming. Former ZANU-PF bigwig and cabinet minister has rubbished the former liberation movement's bold plans to extend President Emerson Mnangagwa's term in office to 2030, warning that the move will end badly for both the president and Zimbabwe. Agreed. It's a bad plan. It's a bad plan. Well, at the end of Coca-Cola, an era of Coca-Cola, as one of the major companies that is a Coca-Cola brand is buying everything up. Coca-Cola HBC AG will buy a majority stake in Coca-Cola Beverages Africa for $2.6 billion to create the second largest bottling partner for the fizzy drink by volume globally. Coca-Cola HBC, founded in 1951 in Nigeria as the Nigerian bottling company, now headquartered in Switzerland, operates in 29 countries on 3 continents. The group will now represent 2/3 of total Coca-Cola system volume in Africa, covering more than half its population. Wow. Well, cool. Countries are hesitating to send troops to Gaza for in clash with Hamas. So basically, countries that demanded peace in Israel are pussies and don't want to put their troops in harm's way. I don't blame them. It's a poison chalice. Why would you want to go there? Hamas is evil and will attack your soldiers, so I understand where they're coming from. Yeah, there you go. My forefathers changed their surname from Duval to Duval when they moved to South Africa many years ago. Exactly, James, exactly. The Trump peace plan calls for an international security force in the Gaza Strip, but countries that might send troops are wary of danger, an unclear mission, and being seen as occupiers. The fragile ceasefire in Gaza that came into force last week rests on some key assumptions, and that includes a international security force, which apparently countries don't want to participate in. But one country is doing it. Sir Keir is looking for attention, so he's sending military officers to Israel following a U.S. request. Yep. UK deploys military officers to Israel following U.S. request. Small contingent of British military planning officers has been sent to Israel to join the task force led by the United States to support stabilization efforts in Gaza. Gaza mediators, the United States, Egypt, and Qatar, stepped up their efforts this week to stabilize early stages of the truce between Israel and Hamas. Well, there you go, folks. So the Brits are sending some folks there. Others apparently don't want. The stolen jewelry, which was called priceless by the French officials, has now had a price tag applied to it. The French crown jewels, which were stolen from the Louvre, are apparently not priceless. They do have a value, $100 million, according to the Paris prosecutor. 8 pieces unlikely to get that price is if they're split apart or melted. Yep. No, they won't get anywhere near that. Jewelry stolen from the Louvre in a brazen weekend heist is worth an estimated 88 million euros, a little over $100 million. Extremely speculative, says the prosecutor. No way comparable historical damage caused by the theft. Agreed. It's probably worth a lot more than that, seriously. President Trump is urging Ukraine to give up land. Well, yeah, that's what I've said all along. They're going to have to give up land. The Russians aren't going to walk away with nothing. President Trump pressed Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky to give up the eastern Donbass region in exchange for peace during tense talks last Friday. Yep. So Zelensky left empty-handed. That's why he didn't get his Tomahawk missiles that he wanted. Well, Trump apparently is demanding $230 million from the Justice Department for the bogus cases against him. Senior department officials who were defense lawyers for the president and those in his orbit are now in jobs that typically must approve any such payout, underscoring potential ethical conflicts. And that would be an ethical conflict, agreed. President Trump is demanding the Justice Department pay him about $230 million in compensation for the federal investigations into him, according to people familiar with the matter. Any settlement might ultimately be approved by senior department officials who defended him or those in his orbit. And that's true. The situation has no parallel in American history. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because we've never had a former president use the power of the Justice Department to target his previous opponent. That's never been done before. The abuse by the Justice Department of President Trump under Joseph Biden. In fact, they should go for Biden's money. Take every penny he has. He got from Burisma. He got from the Chinese communists. Take every penny from him. Let him die in abject poverty. He won't die in poverty. He gets a pension. 2 pensions, one from the Senate and one from the White House. Yeah, so he'll never starve. Trump's nominee for whistleblower post has withdrawn after reports of racist texts. Paul Ingrassia is no longer nominated to lead the Office of Special Counsel. 2 White House officials at CNN told CNN on Tuesday. Ingrassia posted earlier Tuesday evening that he was withdrawing himself from his confirmation because, unfortunately, I do not have enough Republican votes at the time. Came hours after Senate Majority Leader John Thune hinted the White House would pull his nomination following reports of racist text messages. Okay, well, what are these racist text messages? Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see any racist texts. Look, texts are manipulated or being provided material. Yeah, okay. I don't see anything. They don't show any of the text. They don't tell us what he supposedly said, so I know nothing about that. North Carolina Senate has approved redistricting, which will, according to the media, add a GOP seat. Well, that's not a guarantee. People have to vote for the GOP candidate, but anyway, should be a safe Republican seat. State House of Representatives is likely to approve the new map later this week, and the governor cannot veto it. Yep, the governor cannot veto that in North Carolina. Republican senators in North Carolina approved a new congressional map to further favor their party and help the Trump administration's efforts to retain control of the House in midterms. There you go. So that's happening. A new blood test could spot dozens of cancers before symptoms even appear. A majority of detected cancers lack current recommended screening options. A new type of blood test could help detect multiple cancers. A team of researchers in California studied a new multi-cancer early detection test called Galleri, which can reportedly detect more than 50 types of disease. The study analyzed about 23,000 participants, 50 years of age. Interesting. All of that changed when I saw that photo. Zoran Mamdani's kinship with an imam linked to the 1993 World Trade Center attack shocks a man whose father was killed in the bombing, by Olivia Reingold. Michael Mako hasn't been a New York City voter for a decade, but if he were, he said he probably would have voted for frontrunner Zoran Mamdani. Then he saw a photo of Mamdani posted of himself grinning next to Siraj Wahaj, the imam of the Brooklyn Mosque with historical ties to terrorism. I was shocked, said the 61-year-old, about Mamdani's photo on Friday. If I were going to vote, he would have just lost my vote. Yeah. Well, not only does he want to tax white people to pay for other people's lives, he also hangs around with the guy who spoke in behalf of the blind sheikh who was involved in the 1994 terrorism of the World Trade Center. General Motors is doing okay. Stock soaring 15% despite problems with its electrical vehicles and its tariffs. GM profits still come in from very old-fashioned source. Gasoline-powered pickups and SUVs. Yep, there you go. Ford F-150s and Eddie Bauer SUVs. Its full-year guidance boosted $13 billion on adjusted earnings, $10.50 per share. GM posted nearly $49 billion in revenue, flat from last year, but above expectations of $45 billion. Adjusted earnings came in at $280, well ahead of $231. So, yep, net income dropped 57%, but it's surviving. GM's profits still come very old-fashioned source. Gasoline-powered pickups and SUVs built in North America. The business generates most of the cash thanks in large part to Chevy Silverado, GMC Sierra, Tahoe, and Yukon. The full-size vehicles command sticker prices as high as $100,000. Wow. There you have it, folks. There's the news. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. Thank you all for the super chats. Hello, Chris. How are you doing? My stepson is going Friday for 2 interviews. We still have nothing yet. Okay. All right, Olga. Okay. Let me just double check on that. Okay. Yeah, no, he's still saying she's not had a stroke, so. All right. Sent you an email regarding doing an interview with you regarding our FT program. Very appreciate if this would be possible. Charmaine Kleinhans. Huh? You sent me an email. When did you send me an email, Charmaine? Hang on. Let me look and see. Google. I don't see anything from anybody named Charmaine. I'll look it up. Do a search. Charmaine. October 14th. Okay. Why is it not showing me that? Oh, there it is. I will print this email out, and then I will read it while I'm at work, because I'm going to have to go to work, and I will get back with you, okay? Sorry, I didn't see your email. Look, I get lots of them, guys, so thank you for pointing it out, okay? All right. Okay, cool. Also got some feedback of someone who just completed their interview, and, and they mentioned me again. Thank you for that, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Charmaine. I found it. Okay. Yeah, I'm on later on with Ronaldo. That'll be during my lunch break. I will keep you in my thoughts, okay? See you in a Ford 250. Yeah, a big pickup truck would be nice. You're welcome, Joan Stewart. Nolene. Okay, well, Nolene. All right. Nolene. You just sent me an email. You literally just sent me an email while I was broadcasting. Did you honestly expect an answer already, or you just give me a heads up? There is no approval letter, Nolene. There's no such thing as approval letter. There's a provisional approval. That's what you get. And there is no time frame afterwards. Your medical records have to review, the medical screenings and your security stuff has to be done. When they've reached a status where they're satisfied with that, it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be 2 months. There is no time frame. So you don't put your hat around that, okay? All right, but you literally sent that to me while I was broadcasting. I assume you're just telling me, hey, I sent you an email, because there's no way I could have read that. Anyway, all right. All right, yes, Charmaine, I'll take a look at it. Okay, guys, I've got to wrap up and get a shower and go to work, so thank you for being here. Appreciate it, and I'll see you later today on Ronaldo and possibly my own broadcast, okay? Received a call for a Teams meeting this morning. Okay, congratulations, Candace. Oh, Candace, you've been wondering, where's my call? Where's my call? There you go. All right, guys, thanks. Be sure to hit the like button, 259 likes. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Wow, can you imagine that? Race-based taxation. Race-based taxation. Wow. Well, I guess we're learning things from South Africa. And they're not good things. Unbelievable. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Wow. Wow, I'm just shaking my head on that one. That's unbelievable. Cheers. Take care.